All right. What is up, YouTube? Just got back from the gym. Just had an amazing shower. They got sauna in there, which is why I like it. But do some exercise as well. Burnt my arm, not very fun. So gonna catch you up on what I've been doing this week so far. My live weekly Q&A seem to just come at random times. But yeah, so today. Long day, but it'll for a coffee company about how much people love coffee and different types of coffee. So that's fun, interesting, good crew as always. And yeah, quite easy. There's kind of a generic backdrop, and then it's the lighting is always quite nice and soft, so it's quite easy to get in there with a boom mic. So if you saw my Instagram post, that's what that was all about. But obviously, this is all about answering questions, giving more context. A couple of things that are coming up this week, hopefully more wind tests tomorrow. It wasn't actually that windy today when I got back, like it was for the other days. So definitely going to be doing the Bumblebee outdoor covers compared to the Rycott ones, because that's more of a similar comparison. But I also wanted to put things together. Put comparisons together that are not necessarily like for like, because some people might buy, not everyone's going to buy like the whole range of every single thing just to test it out. So sometimes you kind of just wonder, is it better if I had a Rycott sticky and the fur on compared to just a fully exposed Bumblebee? And that will be often dictated by production as well sometimes. Sometimes they get a bit sketchy on like whether it's okay they want it hidden all the time. And sometimes you just have to make the case, like I did with chefs that I was recording, that because it was double, it's thick linen and it's double kind of breasted. There's just no point hiding it underneath those kind of jewel layers. So what else? Yeah, I need to do a few more things, to be honest. Hopefully getting some in-ear monitors to test out. And yeah, I need to get a hold of a few more things. But obviously, this is again, get your questions in the side there somewhere while there is still time. This is obviously more exciting when I can help you with anything. The blog is still coming along nicely. It's there's a lot of reformatting, so some of the posts haven't quite kind of properly transplanted over. So I'm going through 600 of them. I've done pretty well for a good 4 solid days of going through it, pretty much matched it. And now there's going to be daily stuff coming out of there, kind of rehashing some of the stuff that's been on the YouTube channel as well. Because now with 600 videos on there, 600 posts already, and not all of them are kind of on both platforms, I want to try and make an effort to kind of consolidate that together. And also the podcast as well. I need to do, maybe I'm going to rehash and get a load of these live Q&A questions and just get those as kind of individual episodes as well. So you can download those, and obviously everything is for free, and it's easily found if you also download the Soundrolling app, which is also free. So there is no excuse these days for information and context. It was interesting to see that that everyone liked the Netflix plain sight mic. Definitely a great tip if you're hiding mics in wide shots. Just kind of poke it out just a little bit. Chances are no one will notice. And unless you can blatantly see it and you think you're going to get caught out, just use your own kind of judgment for that. Alejandro, it's going very well. I also need to do, I haven't done a competition for a while, and I kind of like the whole competition vibe. So hopefully I'll be getting on that bandwagon as well. Next week, final pickups actually for the feature film that I was doing in March and April. So final week of pickups. It's actually, it's going to be quite fun because there's just loads of gore. So it's just people getting hacked up. Looking to get a Pelican case, but I can't remember what size you have. Which one is it? I have the Pelican 1620. I love it. I love it for several reasons. One, the 1620 is the perfect size for something like a 664, 688, and inside an Orca OR 32 I've got. I mean, the 34 is just a bit longer and the same width. But that is perfect for plane travel as well. I do need to do an updated video for that as well. I did one last year, I think, just showing you what was inside. And actually, I've come quite far. I haven't really invested that much in kit, especially in the last kind of 8 or 9 months. Obviously, with wedding shenanigans and things like that. So yeah, it's yeah, that's kind of the way to go. I think 1620. I know some people with even bigger ones, 1650, which is just like ridiculously huge. It's too big, and 1610s are a bit too small. So, and I prefer to have one bigger case than kind of a couple of smaller cases. Just makes it easier for traveling around, and it's a perfect height for if you want to make it into a table. Stick my bag on there, and it becomes basically like a mini cart as well. And obviously, being crush proof, waterproof, is always a winner as well. So that is always good. And what else do I need to do apart from obviously like get a haircut and sort out my life? Not much. So any other questions to make this more exciting? Otherwise, I will just cut this off as soon as this gets boring for everyone. Yeah. What else do I need to do? I have some other stuff planned, I think. I don't have any foam in my Peli case. I just have all the stuff around it. Everything's in its own bag, and if it's not in its own bag, then it's kind of going to survive, like cables. I have an adapter box. I'll do that video tonight, actually, since the wind test videos didn't work out that well, and then you shall be able to see. And what else? I need to do more hiding of mic tutorials. They're quite tricky to do, especially on myself. Obviously, having a hairy chest, I'm not a great candidate for kind of most solutions of it. So, Kev Moore, what age were you when you got into location sound? I got into location sound at university level. So basically, I was already making like little YouTube videos, actually on a different site called Live Video. That's how like old school it was. And yeah, then I decided to kind of get into film. And then once I kind of decided to do film school, not really knowing anything about film either, then realized that everyone else knew a lot more than me, and then kind of fell into the location sound department. So I guess in answer to your question, 18. So it's been like 11 years. Yeah, 11 years just. So, oh no, 10 years. Yeah, because it starts September, right? So yeah, so it's been a long time. So I've been doing this like 7 years outside now in the real world. So yeah, it's pretty good. Julian, did I ever use lavs in a stereo setup? Technically, yes, but it was for binaural. So binaural, for people that don't know, is basically just how it's kind of a stereo setup, but with a head in the way. So when you basically position two microphones, what you can do is then create a sense that when you then play it back wearing headphones, you can kind of create your own headspace, which is kind of really weird. So if you're then following with a camera that has the same positioning as your, so if you have the whole thing together, then you can basically create a kind of a binaural stereo image, which is quite interesting. So I did a few videos on that. I tested a few different solutions as well. But in terms of lavs, if that's what you mean, in terms of using lavs in a stereo setup, that's probably the closest, most practical one. Never recorded. Generally, I record pretty much all mono, and then I just make up stereo in post-production. So, Max, do you use any backpack for your gears? Which would you recommend? I don't. The one that I have is like a North Face one, and it's not here, which is annoying. It's a North Face one. I put everything in a Pelican case and drag that around. I then have a little holster kind of cover for my boom pole. And yeah, then I just have a backpack in case I need extra cables, batteries, and stuff that basically can make. It's mainly cables because that's actually what makes the Pelican case really heavy. So yeah, that's pretty much that. So in terms of recommendations for like trying to fit a kit all in a backpack, I have used that one as actually like a covert recording kit when I did a film in Morocco. And so I had everything kind of set up in the back. So I forget the bag name though, but it's essentially just like one of those. It's kind of like a cycling one, but like one of those kind of leather, full, kind of quite deep bags. It's probably about the height of the width of the like a laptop and a bit more. So that fits lots of stuff in. Jarhead, which Blitz Zeppelin would you recommend and why? I personally am a big fan of the Rycott Super Shield, and that is for the main reason of practicality. It's really there. Obviously, there's others like the piano and the Cyclone and even the traditional like WS whatevers. But the Super Shield is basically a click on, click off modular system. I love it. So you can just buy different caps and make things and fit whatever mic you need. And yeah, it just fits in the Peli case as well. So being cylinder, although maybe it's slightly affecting the sound, which is obviously why they then started making things like the Cyclone. It's been fine with wind. It's been fine with, just use in general, using one hand. None of this unscrewing stuff. Just click, click off and click, click on. And then inside, there's two modular clips as well. So if you search on YouTube, Soundrolling Rycott Super Shield, you'll be able to find my little video on it. I think it's massively underrated because it came out just before then the Cyclone and all that kind of stuff came out. So I think it got a bit skipped. But definitely for documentary work, ENG kind of work, and even feature film level, I love it. So yeah, I think that's pretty underrated. You should check that out. Kev Moore, what is your opinion on coiled XLR cables compared to regular ones? Seems more manageable with a coiled, but not sure if there would be any sound differences. There aren't any sound differences. The trick is getting specific lengths for them. So generally they come in like predefined lengths. So what I would do is I would use a combination of both, probably, depending on how you best work. But the main annoying part of having like a kind of straight cable is obviously that when you're undoing the boom, you just have to wrap it around a bit more. Whereas potentially you want either a coiled cable around the boom or even inside the boom. So when you stretch it, then that's fine. And then maybe a straight shorter cable just to your bag. But to be honest, these days, I went through a period where I was running just a coiled cable, again, for more ENG documentary kind of work. It was quite useful, but I would probably end up going with a kind of a two-tier scenario where part of it would be coiled and part of it would be straight, because then I can get the maximum length out the straight, but then get all the use out of the coil, which is obviously having it easily retract and extend. Or if I'm pulling it away from my bag, I'm not dropping loads of excess cable on the floor. So I would kind of mix it up that way around, and kind of see which works. But generally, I've just been staying with a straight cable these days. Generally, I find about 6 meters, or even 5 meters sometimes is fine. 5 meters if it's just the bag, 6 meters if it's just you need it a bit longer, and then obviously you can bring extra ones as well. So yeah. Alejandro, what's other alternative to the Pelican 1650 in case I want to save some cash? Well, you get the 1620. That's the one I was saying. I will even write down in the comments in case you don't get it. So definitely get the 1620. The 1650 is massive. It's ridiculous. I know someone that has it, and I'm like, how do you carry around a house? That's insane. So get the 1620. And the best thing about it is that you can actually keep the body, and if the wheels run out, things like that, just write to Pelican and they will send you some more. If you have like a lifetime warranty on Pelican gear, so if anything breaks on it, you can just ask for it. And also you can get different colors. So I recommend getting different colors, and then you can kind of tell your stuff apart from other people's stuff. So I changed the clips to like blue, for instance. So Oh, Josh Morris. So people are asking me stuff on Instagram, so I may as well put it on here. But Josh Morrison asks, "Hey Matt, I'm looking to upgrade my wireless system from G3s. Do you think I should get Lectrosonics SRCs or 411s?" Now, this is an interesting one. I've heard lots of, personally, never used either. I'm still on SRBs. Still, I'm waiting to see what the kind of turnout of the game is going to be. So yeah, we'll see with the wireless where everything lands next year. But in terms of SRCs versus 411s, I think if you're in the right block, either of those is going to be fine. It's whether you need a bit more coverage in terms of kind of range, because SRC is three kind of Electrosonics blocks together, and the 411s, I believe, are still just one Electrosonics block. So maybe have a bit more flexibility with SRC. And yeah, but I've heard good things of either. I think as well, depending on the system, such as if you're going into something with super slot capability, for instance, then maybe SRC is a better way to go as well for kind of a bit more future longevity, future proofing, I guess. Because everything will kind of work in there if you upgrade the firmware, but it's a bit more work. So yeah, that's my rough answer to that question, and I'll actually write that back to him later. But there's a bonus question for you guys as well. So yes, also looking forward to later in the year. I'm trying to line up. I need to go to some events. I'm kind of a bit gutted that I missed NAB this year. I mean, not much went on. There's quite a few exciting things that I obviously talked about already. But yeah, something like IBC, I need to meet up with more of you people and actually go out into the real world. So, Max, do you have any stereo mics in your regular location sound setup? And if so, how often do you manage to record ambience tracks, any interesting SFX, etc., between takes? Closest I've got is I had a Zoom H1, and I just have that because it's just really good. Generally, when you're recording Atmoses, you don't want everyone making loads of noise. And so in between takes is not an ideal time generally to take Atmos. So I've done stuff before where I've been recording crowds in mono, for instance, but I actually snuck in into the Tom Wed Blimp, the H1 as well. And so got a kind of cheeky double recording in stereo and in mono at the same time. But there isn't one in my regular one. I'm recording everything in mono. Closest I'll come is I'll just go off and I'll record in mono a certain piece of Atmos, and yeah, I'll let them build it in post because they have kind of more flexibility. But yeah, H1 is kind of the closest I've come. So, Napat, how do I tackle walk and talk scenes? I think you asked me this question before as well, which I need to get back as well. Dial catch mine usually full of footsteps. How do I prevent this? The trick with preventing footsteps on walk and talks is obviously the ground where you're walking. Walking on grass, obviously without leaves, things like that is going to be better. People will need shoes on for safety, especially if it's Steadicam, things like that. And otherwise, you're trying to get everyone else out of shot in some sort of wireless capacity. So it's basically just your boom up and the camera and whoever's walking and talking. Generally, it's more of a lav situation overall. I've been kind of lucky. Some of them walk and talks haven't been too bad. Also, if they're on a slightly tighter lens, it means they can be a bit further away, and that will help reduce footsteps. And inside, with actors, you can use things called hush heels, and what that means is that you're gonna basically have a kind of a soft cushion on their shoes, and so you're going to be able to kind of get away with at least their footsteps going all over it as well. So there's a few different options out there. Even putting socks over shoes can help dampen it sometimes. But more yeah, outside is definitely trickier than inside. Inside, you want to use maybe lots of carpet. It kind of depends on the situation. So I don't know what specifics were involved, but feel free to write them down, and I will help you out. So Alejandro, going to be working at a basketball game scene this weekend. Do I use straps or waist? I would say whatever they're comfortable with. I think either of those would be good. Basketball baggy shorts, so it's quite easy to have thigh straps on there. And okay. Oh, thanks for your reply regarding the blimps. Okay, wait 1 sec. I'm gonna have to go soon actually for lunch. Okay, 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Go eat. Okay, let's get these few in. So, Jarhead, thanks for your reply, Ari Blimps. I was worried about an upcoming car scene where talent is entering and exiting a vehicle and putting on a seatbelt, hence possibly causing problems with the lav on the body. I would rig the car itself and the person, if you have enough lavs. Just put it above the visor, and so when they sit in, don't worry, it doesn't matter about the seatbelt. And this passenger would be in the back seat. Have you used boundary mics in this situation? Ever used a cub? Any tricks I would appreciate. Boundary mics, I've used boundary mics on the ceiling before. Haven't used the cubs myself, but really, yeah, but love boundary mics. They sound really good. There's normal lav mics, but boundary mics, you can sometimes get a bit more volume out of them. So I'm sure a cub will sound fantastic just on that back seat. So hopefully that is helpful. And final questions. Is the dialogue capture mine is full of footsteps? Okay, kind of answered that. Also, what to do to avoid from sweat hitting the lav mics? Maybe use something like a soft circle or a kind of undercover. But you're basically obviously trying to maybe even use a bumblebee kind of one of their stickers, because it really sticks to the skin, but not in like a super painful way. And yeah, you could just kind of want to cover the mic and be able to kind of like a light wind protection, like you would normally. And then you should be able to get away with the sweat kind of running down. And when you can, try and dab down with a towel and just kind of make them more comfortable. But obviously, depending on how long that kind of match goes on for, will obviously dictate how much sweat you have. And yep, 1 sec, final question. And Greg Farmer, are you generally using wired boom or wireless? Haven't invested in a wireless boom situation yet. I've tried a few now and again, but I'm still a very much wired boom guy. And yeah, I just stay like that. And there's definitely situations where it would be better to have wireless. But it's just the case at the moment that I'm still holding off on the wireless front, seeing where I'm going to go. I still got my full sets of electros. Do I switch? Do I not? Do I? Yeah, we don't know. Don't know yet. So, and on that bombshell, I'm going to end what has actually turned out to be a pretty question-heavy section. So that's pretty good to catch all of you. You can keep leaving comments on this video even when it's not live anymore, and I will try and get back and do videos on them all. Obviously, subscribe, share, all that kind of good stuff. And yeah, more videos coming soon. In fact, tomorrow. In fact, maybe even tonight. So we'll see. But you can always like this video up as well if I've given you any value. And yeah, share any of my videos anywhere. And remember, on YouTube, or even downloading the Soundrolling app called Soundrolling Resources on iOS or Android, there's a little message board in there if you register, again, for free. Everything's for free. So yeah, then there's more good stuff. Talk to me, Twitter, all that kind of good stuff. So that is the big publication announcement. And now I'm going to go get some food and definitely try and organize a haircut tomorrow. If not, just dry my hair from the lovely sauna. So until next time, see you later. Haha.